Alright, today we're going to start with our next topic, that is the descending tract of the spinal cord. Yesterday we studied about the ascending tract, in which all the impulses, they will go from the spinal cord in the upward direction to the brain for the information to get to the brain. So that tract in which the impulses move from the lower part, that is the spinal cord, upward to the higher centers, that is the cerebral cortex of the brain, were called as the ascending tract. Now, once those impulses have reached the ascending tract by means of ascending tract to the brain is going to read that information. Once reading, it's going to command. For the command to take place, the impulses have to move in the downward direction, going down from the higher center, that is the cerebral cortex, all the way down to the spinal cord, the lower center, and then from the spinal cord to the muscles or glands where the performance has to take place. So this path in which the impulses, after being generated from the brain, or the commands generated from the brain, have to go down from high to low, is by means of a pathway, is called as your descending tract. And now we're going to study one of the descending tract, which is really important. That is the corticospinal tract. The corticospinal tract is a very good tract because according to its name, we can easily find what is its origin and what is its insertion. The word cortico means that it is going to originate. It is going to start from the cerebral cortex. And the word spinal means that it is going to end or terminate at the spinal cord. So from this, we can understand that the tract is going to start from the cortex of the brain and end in your spinal cord. Now, the corticospinal tract is of two types. Number one, the corticospinal tract known as the pyramidal. It is same, starting from the cortex, ending into your spinal cord. But it controls all those actions of the muscles, of our skeletal muscles or glands, which are under our control, which are under, wait a second, let me underline this word, because this is really important. This word, voluntary, means under our control. So all the tracts that are going to start from the brain going down to the spinal cord and under our control, if we want to contract it or relax it, that type of tract is called the corticospinal tract, and the type is your pyramidal tract. The second type is the extracorticospinal tract. Same. But this is underlined here, involuntary, which are not under our control. So why it is not under our control? Because it is not going to originate from the spine, from our brain. It is going to originate from the other part of the brain known as the midbrain, present between the forebrain and hindbrain. So they will not reach our conscious level. We will not be aware. That is why it is controlling all those muscles, all those pathways, which we are not even aware. Now, you might be at this point wiggling your head or pulling your hair out that, what is she saying? Like, we didn't understand. So, let me tell you with an example, and then I'm going to explain it with the pathway. For example, like, you are shivering, right? You have a very high temperature. Let's say, for example, you have a temperature of 104 degrees Fahrenheit or degrees centigrade. Well, at that time, your body is whole shaking, right? Now, what do you think? If you want to control it yourself, what are you going to do? Obviously, you want to move. You want to move your muscles so that by moving, heat will be generated and you will feel hotness and your temperature will come down. That is under voluntary control. But under involuntary control, what are you going to do is that you're going to shiver. You're going to shake your body. By shaking your body, not under your control, because you're so much stressed about your fever, your brain is controlling it, due to which heat will be produced involuntary and your body temperature will come down. Let's give another example. For example, your breaths. Like, if you're after climbing so many stairs, right? You run up in front of the stairs, or you're running really fast. So obviously when you're running, your heart rate will go increase. But that is according to you, because if the more you run fast, the more your heart rate will increase. That is your voluntary control. But like when you're sleeping, right? For example, you slept, you are in your dreams, thinking about your dreams, and you're not aware about your heart rates. That time your heart is still beating, but it is not under your consciousness. You're not aware of your heart rate. So that is then the involuntary or the tract known as the extracorticospinal tract. Like, for example, when you're awake, you know your heart rate is, let's say, for example, 100 beats per minute. But when you're sleeping, you don't know whether your heartbeat is 100, 90, 60. So it is unconsciousness. That tract is called as your extracorticospinal tract. Fine? Now, let's explain it with the help of this mechanism. And now, in order to differentiate both the pathways, one, the corticospinal tract, I've indicated it with the red color marker, showing that it is the voluntary one, which is under our control. And the one which is involuntary or under consciousness, I've shown it with the blue color marker, indicating the name extracortical pathway. Now, I'm first going to explain the corticospinal tract pathway, which is voluntary, shown by the red color marker. So first focus on the red color marker, lining and pathway. All right. Obviously, there are going to be the same three neurons, first order neuron, second order neuron, and the third order neuron, and then the function will take place. Now, as it is the descending pathway, so it is going to originate from your higher centers, that is the cerebral cortex, and will go in the downward direction all the way down, down, down to your spinal cord. And from spinal cord, it is going to go to your effector organs to perform the action. All right, let's start. Well, first of all, impulse will be generated. The brain has made a decision. So for that decision, in order for it, it has to pass through a series of impulses. So this neuron, now this neuron is called as your sensory neuron, or the other word of sensory neuron, because it is the first neuron to start this pulse, to start this pathway, is called the first order neuron. So it will start from the cerebral cortex. It will go down from the cerebral cortex, passing through your thalamus, then from the midbrain. From the midbrain, it goes down to your pons. From pons, it is gonna cross over, because whenever it is in the brain, there's crossing over taking place, that not always all the nerve impulses coming from the right side will go to the right side of the brain. They will go to the left side of the brain. And all the impulses coming from the left side of the body, they're gonna disintegrate and cross over and move to the right side of the brain. So, same here, that as the cerebral cortex, it is originating from the right side of the cerebral cortex, but on reaching the medulla oblongata, where they become the second neuron, they're going to disintegrate, cross over from the right side to the left side. And then from the left side, they're going to move down to the medulla oblongata. From the medulla oblongata, entering into the spinal cord white matter. From there into the gray matter. Then leaving the gray matter, entering into the anterior root. From the anterior root, it goes to the effector organs and causes contraction of the skeletal muscle. And remember that this pathway is under our control. So when we're going to contract the muscle, we will be aware that we are either forcefully contracting it or decently contracting it. That was the corticospinal pathway. The second pathway is the extracorticospinal pathway, which is under unconscious control. We are not aware. Why are we not aware? Because here, the first order neuron or the sensory neuron, instead of originating from the cerebral cortex, it is originated in the midbrain. Means it is not reaching the level of consciousness, so we are unaware. Same pathway, starting from the first order neuron in the midbrain, moving down to the pons, where it is then going to disintegrate, move from the right side towards the left side, enter into the medulla oblongata. From medulla oblongata, it forms the second order neuron, goes down to your spinal cord. After the spinal cord, it leaves the spinal cord to reach the effector organ and causes movement, either contraction or relaxation, but not under our control. We do not control its contraction or relaxation. Fine? And then it becomes the third order neuron. So that was all about this pathway. Hope it is able to understand to you guys and make it a clear concept for your descending tracts. If you have any problems, leave your questions behind in the comment box and I'll reply to your questions. Thank you.